Hello again, and welcome back to another edition of The Wiccan Conservative. Today is the day. Is Georgia's election system constitutional? A federal judge will decide in a trial set to begin today. To bring everybody up to speed, Georgia has become a pivotal electoral battleground in recent years, with national attention focused on its elections and our machines. The system used statewide in nearly all in-person voting locations includes touchscreen voting machines that print ballots with a human-readable summary of the voters' selections and a QR code that the scanner uses to read the marked votes. The activists say that they should switch these machines to hand-marked paper ballots tallied by scanners, and also we need a robust post-election audit rather than the plans that we currently have in place. U.S. District Judge Amy Tottenberg, who's overseeing the long-running case, said in October that she cannot order the state to use hand-marked paper ballots, but the activists say prohibiting the use of touchscreen machines would effectively force the use of hand-marked paper ballots because that's the emergency backup provided in state law. The lawsuit was filed by several individual voters and the Coalition for Good Governance, which advocates for election security and integrity, against the Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and members of the state election board. It claims that the current configuration of the state's election system persists to threaten voters' right to have their votes counted as cast. Included in the documents that will be reviewed at court is a report that identified vulnerabilities in the election system used in Georgia that led to a federal cybersecurity agency to issue an advisory to jurisdictions that use the equipment and prompt some Georgia Republicans to call for abandoning the machines. Since the lawsuit was first filed in 2017, Georgia has emerged as a pivotal swing state, and this has also been the spark for many of the quote-unquote outlandish Trump conspiracy theories. For the second time in 4 years, Georgia's Secretary of State stands at the center of a fight over the legitimacy of a presidential election. Only now, Brad Raffensperger, the Republican who once stood up to Donald Trump's election lies, is the one security experts see as the problem. In a letter sent to state lawmakers last week in June, Raffensperger argues that a newly unsealed audit finding that there are dangerous vulnerabilities in Georgia's widely used voting machine software are overblown and no fixes are needed. But the CISA never commented on how easy it would be to actually undermine an election, and that element of the report that is included in the lawsuit today remains the matter of dispute. Each of the attacks require some degree of physical access to election systems to execute. Bad actors would also need a copy of the company's proprietary software, which the court gave to Halderman, who ran the report. When asked about the attacks identified in the Halderman report, a Dominion spokesperson said that our customers' certified systems remain secure thanks in part to many robust operational and procedural safeguards that exist to protect elections. Raffensperger claims the Halderman report was the result of a computer scientist having complete access to Dominion equipment and software for 3 months in a laboratory environment. But the undersigned study, which was commissioned by Dominion, is predicated on a shaky assumption buried in one of its footnotes: the enforcement of strict and effective controlled access to Dominion's system, which is exactly what the Halderman report claims to debunk. Halderman specifically argues that the MITRE analysis Georgia officials are using to defend their decision is flawed because security measures are not always followed. In a Twitter thread criticizing Georgia for not updating its software, Halderman pointed to Coffee County, Georgia, where a Republican Party official directed outsiders to copy part of the voting system on January 7, 2021. Election experts have increasingly warned about the risks that insider threats pose to American elections. In the introduction to his official report, to assist the court in understanding the risks that the system creates, Curling plaintiffs asked me to conduct a security analysis of the ImageCast X, ICX, BMD, and associated equipment used in Georgia elections. Using an ICX provided by Fulton County, I played a role of an attacker and attempted to discover ways to compromise the system and change votes. I, along with my assistant, spent a total proximity of 12 person weeks studying the machines, testing for vulnerabilities, and developing proof of concept attacks. Many of the attacks I successfully implemented could be effectuated by malicious actors with a very limited time and access to the machines, as little as mere minutes. This report documents my findings and conclusions. The coalition also sought to directly subpoena Brad Raffensperger to the courtroom to testify, but it doesn't appear that the court is going to allow that to happen, citing his presence to be unnecessary. So as I've been telling you guys, if the machines can be compromised, somebody will find a way to compromise them. The outside threat is not really the threat that we should be looking at. We should be looking at internal threats. And the only answer to this problem is to be involved in your elections and the election cycle, including but not limited to canvassing, registering voters, working in the precincts, and counting and overseeing the count of ballots. But that's all I have for you guys today. I will catch you on the next one.